Hello boys, welcome back to another interesting session of video tutorials. This is meant for class 11th biology students and this is for 4th August 2020. And in this session we are entering into new unit as well as new chapter. And the new unit, as all of you know, is the plant physiology. And for your batch there are some chapters that are deleted from this unit. As such, plant physiology unit number 4 has got previously 18 marks weightage, and for your batch from 18 marks it is reduced to 15 marks. It is reduced to 15 marks because from this unit 3 chapters are deleted for your batch. Chapter number 11, transport in plants, is not there for your batch. Chapter number 12, mineral nutrition, is also not there for your batch. And now chapter number 13, photosynthesis in higher plants, we are dealing right now, photosynthesis in higher plants. Chapter number 14, respiration in plants, we will deal. And chapter number 15, plant growth and development, is also deleted for your batch. So virtually in this unit, 2 chapters are left out. Photosynthesis in higher plants and respiration in plants. And the marks are 15. That means almost 7.5 marks. So if you are thorough with the chapter, you are going to get 7 to 8 marks from this chapter. With that in our background, let's move on to this. As all of you write from class 6th lower classes, photo means light, synthesis means preparation. Something is prepared by higher plants or in higher plants with the help of photo, that is sunlight. So the process of preparation. What is prepared in higher plant? It's food. What is the food of the plants? Starch. So we say synthesis of starch in higher plants with the help of sunlight. That's how we can define what photosynthesis is. And in this process of preparation of starch or food by the plants or inside the plants, and the process is regularized by enzyme. So we say photosynthesis is an enzyme regulated anabolic process. Anabolic means something is joining. In junior classes, CO2 plus H2O you are writing. Of course, that way of writing is not technically correct. I will explain in this chapter why we should not write CO2 plus H2O. At lower level it's okay, CO2 plus H2O, but virtually you will understand that CO2 will never combine with H2O. So it's anabolic process of manufacturing organic compounds. What is that organic compounds? It is the starch. And who is helping it? There is an enzyme pigment called chlorophyll, green color pigment. And this chlorophyll will be present in a cell organelle called chloroplast. And the chloroplast is a type of plastid. And this chloroplast, having green colored pigment called chlorophyll, helps the plants to prepare starch with the help of 2 raw materials. What are those 2 raw materials? CO2 plus H2O, carbon dioxide and water. And sunlight is a must in this as a source of energy. So photosynthesis is a chemical process because starch is being produced. Uses light energy, that is sunlight energy, to synthesize organic compounds such as starch. Starch is a polymer. Monomer is a sugar, as all of you know. So what is the significance of this photosynthesis? It is the primary source of food. Without photosynthesis, no plant on this earth can exist. So for the preparation of starch, every plant must undergo photosynthesis. And then only food will be prepared. With the help of the food, the plants will survive. And in the bargain, what's happening? We are thankful to the plants. Why we should grow more plants? Why often I tell you that in and around your house, in your home, there should be minimum 10 to 12 plants. The reason being that second one, release of oxygen to atmosphere. Whatever carbon dioxide that we are releasing will be taken by the plants because we said CO2 plus H2O. And whatever oxygen that is the byproduct of photosynthesis, thanks to green plants, we will be taking it because just try to close your nose for 1 minute even 30 seconds, you will understand the importance of oxygen. So release of oxygen by the green plants as a byproduct oxygen in the photosynthesis process is helping us to live happily. So more the plants in and around your house, more the oxygen. More the oxygen, you are healthy. So many experiments were conducted. First experiment was conducted by Joseph Priestley in 1772. He demonstrated that green plants purify the foul air and convert it into pure air. So for that he has done a small experiment. As I said, it's performed a series of experiments with the bell jar, candle and mouse. Priestley observed that candle burning in a closed bell jar soon gets extinguished. Similarly, a mouse would soon suffocate in a closed space. He concluded that burning candle or an animal that breathed the air both somehow damage the air. But when he placed a mint plant in the same bell jar, he found that mouse stayed alive and the candle continued to burn. So based on this, Priestley hypothesized plants restore to the air whatever breathing animals and burning candles remove. Now this is what a wonderful experiment that Joseph Priestley in 1772 conducted. Look at that. First he has taken a bell jar, big jar, glass jar, in that burning candle and animal, a rat, small rat he has taken. And sooner the animal died. What is the reason? The burning candle released a lot of carbon dioxide, whereas the mouse or rat wanted oxygen. And now what he has done in the next experiment, you can see in C diagram, he has placed a plant there. So when the candle is burning, it's releasing CO2 that is taken by the green plants that is placed here, and the green plant undergone photosynthesis, released oxygen. That oxygen made the candle to burn as well as the mouse to survive. So that is how Joseph Priestley concluded that there must be oxygen for the survival of animals. And Stephen Hales, right from 1727, he discovered that green plants require sunlight for their nutrition. And another scientist in 1779, Ion Ingenhousz, that is John Ingenhousz, concluded by his experiments that green plants purify noxious air during the day in presence of light. He has conducted this experiment. All of you will be doing this in our lab also. So you are taking a glass jar, in that you are taking water and some algae, and then you are taking a beaker, putting the beaker reverse, covering all the algae plants. Over that beaker you are putting a test tube, glass test tube, and sooner you place this whole setup in the sunlight, you will start observing air bubbles coming out of this test tube, particularly the beaker, and reaching the test tube. As the air bubbles go up, you can note down the initial volume of the water in the test tube and final volume. That much oxygen will occupying it. So he has done this beautiful experiment. All of you individually will be doing this experiment in our lab also. So what is that? John Ingenhousz showed that sunlight is essential to the plant process that somehow purifies the air followed by burning candles or breathing animals. He performed experiment with an aquatic plant, that algae we will take, showed that in bright sunlight small bubbles were formed around the green parts while the dark they did not. Later he identified these bubbles to be oxygen. How do you test this? So when at the end of this experiment, he will take a matchstick, burn that, and the fire that comes because of burning matchstick will be vigorous, and that shows that the test tube contains oxygen. Okay, and later he identified these bubbles to be oxygen. Hence he showed that it is only the green part of the plants that could release oxygen. In 1854, Julius Van Sachs proved that plants produce glucose while growing and stores them as starch. He explained that plants have green substance which is present within a cell in a specialized bodies. So he demonstrated that first visible product of photosynthesis is starch. And he also showed that chlorophyll is confined to chloroplasts only. And there is another interesting experiment that is done by Engelmann in 1884 and 88, showed that chloroplast was the seat of photosynthesis in the cell, discovered the role of different wavelengths of light on photosynthesis, and plotted the action spectrum. Of course, some of you will be doing it as your project. You will be using this VibGR colors, and based on your VibGR colors experiments, how much starch is produced, you can understand which color is most suitable for maximum photosynthesis, and under which color of the light photosynthesis will be least. So thanks to Engelmann, look at that, what he has done in 1884, today we are doing it. That's the greatness of this man. He observed that bacteria accumulated mainly in the region of blue and red light of the split spectrum. It explained the absorption spectrum of chlorophyll A and B. We will study again that graph separately. So key features of photosynthesis was first explained in 19th century, and that plants could use light energy to make carbohydrates from CO2 and water. So the empirical equation representing the total process of photosynthesis for oxygen evolving organisms was then understood as, of course, I have told you just now that this way of writing is not correct. At junior class it's okay, but in senior classes you should not write this way, CO2 plus H2O. I will explain to you in next session that CO2 will never combine with H2O like this, in fact. And CH2O is a monomer, and N times it is, that represents starch. And another scientist, Cornelius Van Niel, he did experiment with purple and green bacteria. Van Niel in 1931, and he demonstrated that some bacteria use H2S instead of H2O in the process of photosynthesis. So we can replace that H2O water with H2S, hydrogen sulfide. So he demonstrated photosynthesis as light dependent process. He explained hydrogen from H2O. This is what exactly you should understand. Why I said CO2 plus H2O you should not write. It is because in H2O, H2O splits up. We call this as photolysis or hydrolysis. When we say H2O splits up, it forms H plus and OH minus. That H plus reduces CO2 to starch. This is what exactly happens. So he concluded that oxygen comes from H2O and not from CO2. And finally, the correct equation for photosynthesis was discovered, and generally we write like this: 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O, giving rise to C6H12O6, N times it is, of course. C6H12O6 is glucose, you know, that's a monomer, and normally plants will form heavy amounts of glucose that becomes starch, and 6H2O is the byproduct, 6O2, that's important. That's why I said more the plants, more the oxygen. This is the overall reaction. And where this photosynthesis is taking place, as we said, it takes place in chloroplast. Inside the chloroplast, where exactly? In the mesophyll. So in the mesophyll, there is bag-like structures called thylakoids, and these thylakoids will be present in this fashion. You can see here, take a paper, take a pencil, draw this diagram. Start with outer membrane, come to inner membrane, then you have got filamental structures. They are called lamella, or single one is called stroma, and then you have got that, you know, bag-like structure, grana. So when you arrange this grana, it is just like 1 rupee coins you collect and place them one above the other. You get a stack of 1 rupee coins. So the granum will be like that, a stack of pocket thylakoids. And inside there is liquid with lot of enzymes, that's called stroma, or in general we say matrix. And stroma is the liquid in which this grana will be present. And grana consists of many thylakoids. And inside the stroma, a lot of ribosomes will be there, starch granules will be there, lipid droplets will be there. So actual site of photosynthesis is thylakoid.